my sweets. I'm all about my sweets. So have you any questions you want to ask me? After my last video talk, when we had a holiday from hell in London, which was the first holiday and the only holiday we had during the war, I feel I'd like to go on and talk about VE Day because it is the celebrations this year. Complete relief. It was a feeling of no more tension, no more waiting to see if there was going to be planes coming, if we had to listen for the siren, if we were going to be bombed, and being able to sort of get into bed without listening for that siren and waiting for it to go at its usual time. Well, the celebrations were strange. We had several celebrations. The first one was completely impromptu. Everybody as soon as we heard that the war was over, somehow we all congregated at the Preston Circus, Brighton, where there is the fire engines coming through and all that sort of thing. But of course that didn't happen. Everybody was just dancing, somebody provided music, and we all just hugged and talked to each other. And it was my first introduction to dancing with a man. A soldier who was a South African came over and asked me if I'd like to dance, and I said yes, of course. And we danced together, and he sort of told me he was so happy because he was going to be going home to his wife and his children. So everybody was happy for their own reasons and all relaxed. Well, no, we didn't gorge on food as soon as the war ended because we were on rationing for many years afterwards. So that just continued the same as it was. I can remember that we just had the normal meals, which weren't as they are today, and probably is why a lot of us are slimmer, because we don't carry all that excess food and processed food, none at all. So I think that was a good thing for us. I do remember when sweets came off rationing, and I suppose being young, most people gave me their sweet coupons, and I just gorged on sweets. I can remember that until I was absolutely sick, with the result I don't eat many sweets today. My favourite sweets were probably fudge. It was easy to chew, it was very syrupy and easy to swallow, but very thirst-making. I don't know, no, I think it's the other way round. There are sweets you can get today that you couldn't get then. I mean, you've got dolly mixtures, confitures, what are those things with the licorice in the middle?
Licorice all sorts.
Yeah, well, yeah, licorice all sorts. They're the good old one. Toffees, obviously. Boiled sweets, lemon sherbets and all that sort of thing, which weren't good for the teeth. So I'll say which I don't eat today because I'm fed up with it. I got so fed up with the sugar. Well, I think the best thing was I looked forward to my father coming back, because he'd been up into the Orkneys, which was a long way away, so he didn't come home from there very often. Then when he did come down south, he was sent abroad to North Africa following the troops up, and also Sicily, Italy, before he came home, or before the end of the war. Well, yes, I suppose we were all so relieved and so happy that it was over, not knowing what sort of things were going to be faced in the future. And of course today we have the COVID, which really is nothing like the war at all. It's a different sort of capture. We've captured into our houses. A lot of us have had to stay there for the sake of each other as well as ourselves. And obviously food was short to start with, but it was there and it did come through. So it was nothing like the war. It has its own horrific details, and more so for some people who don't survive it or didn't survive it or haven't survived it. And you can just feel a great sadness for that. I don't think it will be finally over. I think it's going to be like flu, and I think that as soon as we get a vaccine, we'll be able to get on top of it, but I think we will have it coming back year after year like flu. So you get flu, COVID, nasty colds, that sort of thing. It'll be joining the queue. Please don't, because you'll find you've got the rest of your life to go through, and there's always something to feel anxious about. So the great thing is to find humour in everything, as we did during the war, and it was the one thing that kept us going. And when you think of the horrific things that happened then, and to some families today with COVID, you have to keep on top of it, you have to keep going, and you have to do your best to be part of the social scene.